What it do? Bedtime crew. Hey man, listen, today I'm here to give you guys my full card predictions for this weekend's fight night, headlined by, of course, Deshaun Strickland, you guys. Here's the thing about this fight card, you guys. This is gonna be a great fucking card, you guys. I can't fucking wait for this card, dude. We got Sean Strickland versus Anthony Hernandez, Jeff Neal versus Medic of Uros. We've got Dan 50K Ige. I've got a really funny segment about him. We've got Melquizael Costa, Spivak Deligio, Jacobe Smith, my boy, is on the card. Who else is on this fucking thing? Ode Osbourne's on here. Phil Rowe. Shout out to Phil Rowe. And I believe, and the rest are nobodies. But hey, man, let's get into this. Starting off with the prelim. Sorry, Carlos Leal. Dude, what are you saying, man? And Alden Coria, teammate of Joshua Van, W-Mans. First fight of the night. This is great, dude. We got Juliana Miller versus Carly Judice. I'm going to be picking female Dustin Poirier, Carly Judice, to win this fight. I'm going to say she wins by decision. She's coming off a couple of knockout wins. Had that nasty head kick knockout 2 fights ago, I believe. I think she wins this one. I could see maybe a TKO, but because it's WMMA, I feel like randomly Juliana Miller will not get flatlined out cold, and Carly Judice is going to win this fight. She's a really solid striker. Kind of reminds me of like flyweight Holly Holm, except like when Holly Holm was entertaining. I think Carly Judice is actually a pretty decent prospect, so I think she's going to win this fight by decision very clearly, maybe a TKO. Next fight of the night, we've got Jordan Leavitt versus Yadier Del Valle. Jordan Leavitt moving down to the featherweight division. His work is complete at lightweight. I'm picking Del Valle to win this fight. I know that he was kind of in that betting controversy, whatever it is. This guy's a pretty decent prospect, very good grappling, and we've seen that Jordan Leavitt, yes, he is a good grappler. His striking is absolute nonsense. We're not even going to bring that up. I think he will get outstruck in this fight. Probably be at a little bit of a speed and athleticism disadvantage. But why is it that Jordan Leavitt, he's like a good grappler, but all of his losses, he's getting submitted? Like Chase Hooper, Paddy Pimblett submitted him. He is coming off a submission win. Now he's here in the featherweight division. He may have a little bit of a size advantage, but even then, I don't think he has this huge frame and reach advantage that some guys would get changing weight classes. And like I said, I feel like he's going to be a little bit of a speed and athleticism disadvantage. Nobody's watching Jordan Leavitt talking about, wow, this guy's really quick. Damn, this guy's fucking got some snap on his punches. He's kind of this, fun, slow, scrambly grappler, and then he'll get to a choke and he'll get the finish. I don't think that's going to work here against Yadier Del Valle. I think that he's probably going to get submitted with a rear naked choke. Round 2, round 3, some shit like that. I'm sorry, my Jordan Leavitt fans. Next fight of the night, we've got Phil Rowe versus John Paul Labosniani. Now, this guy's coming off an insane finish on Contender Series. Whipped up that lead side bloody head kick like Robert Whittaker and followed up with the right hand. Very impressive finish. He does have a couple of those on his record. Phil Rowe got absolutely blobbed by fucking Seong-Hook Ko, whatever the guy's name is. The Korean dude. I was about to say the Japanese dude. The Korean dude. I'm learning, guys. Okay. Absolutely fucking smudged for 3 rounds. Happens to the best of us. Happened to Oban Elliott as well. Not a bad loss whatsoever. Before that, come from behind KO against Angelusa. Phil Rowe to me is just very inconsistent. Like he's winning 1, he's losing 2, then he'll win 1, then he'll lose another 1. I think that Labosniani is going to win this fight. I think he has momentum. I think that, yes, he is a little bit of a midget. He probably should be at lightweight. He's at kind of a big reach disadvantage here. But Phil Rowe, he hasn't been able to capitalize on these advantages against guys like Jake Matthews, who's also a former lightweight and kind of a short, stubby welterweight that has good grappling and solid striking. I think that Labosniani is going to win this fight by submission. I feel like the grappling for Phil Rowe has always been kind of a weakness. He got smudged by Neil Magny. I mean, listen, bro, no shame in that. Smudged by Seong-Hook Ko. Come from behind victory by KO against Angelusa. So, like, he can win this fight. I do feel like there's a chance here that he chins this guy. I'm going to say he gets rocked on the feet because he's like a tall dude, and I feel like tall dudes are always kind of chinny, and then he'll get taken down and potentially submitted. I feel like Labosniani's kind of got this solid grappling game that people are kind of sleeping on because of the knockout win on Contender Series, but it seems like his base is jiu-jitsu. It seems like that's what he's been doing a lot longer. That's what they keep bringing up whenever they talk about him in his fights. So I think he's going to win this fight by submission in the second or first round. Late first round, mid second round submission. I'll say he gets a guillotine or maybe like a Das choke or an anaconda choke, something like that from the top half guard position. Let's move on. We got Ramiz, Brahimaj. Man, both of these guys should be fighting Jeff Neal in the co-main event. I'm not talking about a fucking triple threat on some like Roman Reigns, CM Punk shit. I'm just saying these guys are very solid prospects coming up the welterweight division on win streaks. And here they are on the fucking prelims, and Uros Medic is in the co-main event. Regardless of that, I like this fight. I think this is actually a really entertaining matchup. This is very evenly matched as well. These guys are very similar. Ramiz Brahimaj, he's kind of been a dark horse in the division. He started out a little bit inconsistent, now training with the GOAT Bilal, remember the name Muhammad, and of course Juliana Pena, the greatest striker in women's MMA history. So listen, all jokes aside, that is a good ass team. I'm pretty sure Yair Rodriguez is with them as well, and now Brendan Allen is too. So that team is actually really fucking good, and all those guys are improving in every fight. I like Ramiz Brahimaj in this fight. Punahele Soriano, he's going to have a little bit of a physicality advantage. He's a former middleweight, but that means that he doesn't have lighter man skill, bro. He's got heavier man's, I don't know, trudge or whatever the fuck whatever the opposite of lighter man skill is. That's what he's coming in with. This guy's a middleweight. He's got big power, but mainly he just takes you down and lays on you. He got tired against Veretnikov, basically just taking him down and laying on him. And I feel like, Brahimaj is going to be able to ride out a bad round here, like a bad first round where he gets taken down, make Soriano a little bit tired, and I do think he'll out-scramble him, and I feel like he will submit him with a guillotine choke. Brahimaj has a couple of guillotines on his record. He got one in his last fight against Vanderford, who's another former middleweight that also beat up Veretnikov, except he finished him and beat the fuck out of him, and Soriano's going to this 29-28 decision with him, laying on him, getting out-scrambled, getting put in guillotine attempts. I just feel like that, to me, makes a lot of sense that Ramiz Brahimaj wins this fight by guillotine. He has a really nasty, like, 10-finger guillotine as well. It doesn't have to be this head on the outside. Dustin Poirier jump the gilly. He can get it pretty quickly from the front headlock. So I think that's going to happen in this fight. I feel like Punahele Soriano, they'll both... this is what I see happening. The start of this fight in the first round, they're both swinging. They both kind of miss. They end up clinched up. Soriano takes him down, and he's just laying on him, and then he kind of loses position. Ramiz Brahimaj locks up the gilly, gets the tap. I think round 2, early round 3 submission here for Ramiz Brahimaj. Soriano does well early on, slows down a little bit because he's a fucking middleweight, loses position, gets submitted. Either a guillotine, like I said, or I could also see Ramiz Brahimaj kind of getting a rear naked choke without the hooks in. Something crafty like that. I mean, when you got the fucking bro, he's breaking. Bro, he's literally breaking. Bro, he literally wants out. Bro, he's literally tired. He's a bum. He's not ready at all. When you got Bilal Muhammad in your fucking corner, you got Tuco Tacos in your corner. I trust Ramiz Brahimaj to win this fight by submission. Next fight of the night, we've got, great, dude. We've got Nora Cornolle versus Joselyne Edwards. To be fair to Joselyne Edwards, she is literally the best Edwards in the UFC. Am I wrong? Am I fucking wrong that she's actually the best Edwards in the UFC right now? She's on a 3-fight finish streak, dude. And some interesting bull knowledge about this fight. I mean, listen, if you're a hardcore fan and you wear pink Street X rash guards, you know, okay, you know that these guys already fought before. And Nora Cornolle actually got the W. So Joselyne Edwards is coming in for revenge. She's the younger fighter. She's been on a good win streak. Nora Cornolle's been a little bit more inconsistent. I think that Joselyne Edwards is going to be able to win this fight by decision. The thing with WMMA is like, it's always a 29-28 decision, right? So the fact that you already fought her and lost to her, we flipped the coin, it landed on heads. You're probably just going to win this fight by 29-28 decision. Like, there's not much else to say. I do like Joselyne Edwards, though. She's actually pretty good. She's on a 3-fight win streak, 2 knockouts in a row in her last 2 fights. Before that, she lost to Aylin Perez, who is ranked, who is coming up the division. And that was a very close fight. I feel like Joselyne Edwards could have won that fight if she made a few different decisions. She seemed to be making some improvements in her last couple of fights. Nora Cornolle's 36 years old. She has some nice knockouts as well, but she's not as consistent right now as Joselyne Edwards. I think the momentum, the coin flip factor that you've already lost to this person in WMMA, so of course you're going to win the rematch by 29-28. Yeah, I'm going to pick Joselyne Edwards to win that fight. Next fight of the night, we've got Alden Coria versus Louis Gurule. Look at this little bald dude's head, bruh. I'm picking Alden Coria, bro. I mean, dude, my boy trains with Joshua Van. He's probably absorbing that aura every day, just standing next to Joshua Van in the gym, hitting the bag with him. You're just going to be absorbing secondhand aura. I know I did when talking to Joshua Van on Zoom, so I can only imagine this guy training in the gym with him. But listen, bro, reach advantage. As a boxer and you have an 8 centimeter reach advantage, that's a huge advantage. That's going to be a big factor. The Louis Gurule got chinned by fucking Ode Osbourne 2 fights ago. Also lost to Jesus Aguilar, has not won in the UFC. He got into the UFC from a split decision on Contender Series. Alden Coria coming off a knockout win over Alessandro Costa. And if you know Alessandro Costa, this is a guy that was like, he's next up at flyweight. Super close fight with Steve Erceg. Had a good fight against Amir Blazo, did get chinned. That's not aging very well, but I mean, still, Amir Blazo's ranked. I just think Alden Coria is just better, man. He's just, he's got the hometown advantage. He's got the style to piece up Louis Gurule at range with his jab, get going offensively, start to let go with his combos. He does move very similar to Joshua Van as well, especially if he has you hurt. He'll just let go a combo, body shot, body shot, uppercut, headshot, up against the fence. And I just feel like he'll win this fight by TKO in the 2nd or 3rd round. Up against the fence, ripping combinations, referee steps in. I think they're going to be favorable towards Alden Coria in this fight. The judges, the refereeing, I think the style matchup is very favorable to him as well. Yeah, I think he wins this fight pretty easily, all right? Co-main event of the prelims, we've got Ode Osbourne. I mean, former opponent. Respect to the man. He had a good fight against me. He chinned me pretty bad in the first round. I bounced back. I smudged him. And he's fighting Aliidarus. Now, Aliidarus, yes, he's a Kazakhstani dude. And I know they're going to be spamming the blue and yellow flags in the comments of every single Instagram post, acting like this dude's the next Shavkat Rakhmonov. I'm picking Ode Osbourne by knockout. Aliidarus, this guy's a goofball. He's throwing fucking spinning elbows every 2 seconds in this fight against Joseph Morales that I watched. He could grapple, but he doesn't. He doesn't grapple. He ties up in the clinch, and that's it. And I think against a guy that's taller than him and lankier in Ode Osbourne, who, does have solid defensive grappling, it's not a strong suit. Like, he will get smudged and taken down and controlled and potentially submitted if you're like a really good grappler. I just see Aliidarus just missing a bunch of shots. Ode Osbourne's just way quicker than him on the outside, feinting, shooting the 1-2. Landing that classic check hook. I feel like this matchup favors Ode Osbourne. It's going to be mainly striking. I think if Aliidarus gets to the clinch like he likes to do to get his takedowns, he's going to have a hard time taking down a guy that's taller than him, that's lankier than him, that has pretty good balance. And I think they're going to be out in the open, and Ode Osbourne's going to snipe him with something big, like a big right hand, big check hook, maybe a jumping knee or some shit like that. I think Ode Osbourne will get the TKO finish in the 1st or 2nd round here against Aliidarus. I know that it's risky. Ode Osbourne's a kind of a coin flip guy, but I think this matchup kind of favors him. He's got a speed advantage. I think if he goes to the body, he will hurt Adiris as well. That's something that happened to him against Joseph Morales. And I think if Ode Osbourne gets going on the front foot, jabs, crosses, mixing things up to the body, not overextending and allowing a takedown to happen on the legs. I think if it's mainly just upper body, he'll do a good job defending, keeping this striking. And Adiris is just inaccurate and just goofy, throwing spinning shit all the time. Yeah, I think that Ode Osbourne wins this fight. All right, man. Headliner of the prelims, we've got Chidi and Njokuani versus Carlos Leal. Dude, this is tough because I really can see Carlos Leal just bombing him out cold in the 1st round. But at the same time, I think Leal is very overrated. I think that the Rinat Fakhretdinov fight was like the exception and not the rule. He beat Alex Morono, like, oh my God, he fucking chinned Alex Morono after like 4 minutes. Whoa, call the cops. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not that impressive to me. And then he got flatlined by fucking Muslim Salikov. So, and by the way, I picked Muslim Salikov. because I'm a genius. I'm picking Chidi Njokuani. I think he wins this fight by decision. I'm going to say Chidi Njokuani, 29-28, clinch fest decision, gets dropped or rocked in the first round. Carlos Leal, this guy thinks he's fucking Alex Pereira. He just walks at you like this with his hands down the whole time. Not super accurate, doesn't really jab, doesn't mix things up to the body very well. Just kind of a headhunter. I think Chidi Njokuani having that big reach advantage and frame advantage and just being a bigger guy, being a former middleweight. He is a little bit chinny. I think that's a possibility here of getting chinned in the first round. But I think if that doesn't happen, he will get rocked, lose the first round, and then start to take over because Carlos Leal has nothing else other than just walking at you with his hands down. I think Chidi Njokuani will be blasting him with the jab. I think he'll be front kicking to the body, clinching up. He has a really good clinch game. I think he could smudge Carlos Leal against the fence in the clinch, land knees to the body, elbows over the top, because Carlos Leal's chin is always up, his hands are always down. I think he will get pieced up and kind of, you know, fucked up in moments in this fight, but I think this will be a decision win for Chidi Njokuani. Like I said, bombed out with an overhand in the first round, survives, wins the second and third. Clinch game, knees, it's a close fight, but we're in Texas. Chidi Njokuani's from there. I think he has the striking skill advantage in this matchup, the frame advantage, the reach advantage. I think the clinch is something Carlos Leal does well, but Chidi Njokuani does it better as a Muay Thai guy. So I lean towards him in this fight by decision. So my picks for the prelims, I got Njokuani, I got Osbourne, I got Coria, I got Joselyne Edwards, I got Ramiz Brahimaj, I got Labos, I got Del Valle, and I got Carly Judice. Let's move on to the main card. In the first fight of the night, we've got Zachary Reese. Cody Brundage victim Zachary Reese versus Michel Pereira. Coughing baby versus coughing baby matchup right here, dude. Michel Pereira's just fucking washed. I'm sorry, I'm picking Zach Reese. I don't rate either of these guys very highly in the middleweight division, I have to be honest with you. But Zachary Reese is a little bit less disappointing than Michel Pereira. Michel Pereira has no cardio, no striking defense, no takedown defense, seemingly no chin now, getting colded by fucking Kyle Dorcas. That's kind of rough. And I'm sorry, but dude, but Michael Pereira is the type of guy to sell. Like Zachary Reese, he just, either he gets finished in the first round or he wins this fight by decision. I think that I think there's a possibility here that he finishes Michel Pereira, but I don't rate him high enough to be like, yeah, he finishes Michel Pereira. I think he just wins a decision. I think he just genuinely survives the first round of Michel Pereira being somewhat good at MMA, and then he gasses out, and then he's complete dog shit, and Michel Pereira gets pieced up. Maybe gets taken down, controlled. I feel like the possibilities are endless here for Zachary Reese once this leaves the first 2 minutes of the fight. I'm going to say Zachary Reese wins this by late TKO or decision. Michel Pereira is an athleticism merchant. He's starting to get old. He's starting to wear down. The Anthony Hernandez loss genuinely took years off this dude's career. I think, like, honestly, the thing with Michel Pereira that's a fucking anomaly is, like, even there's even fights where he tries to be patient and he still gasses out in one round. There's fights like the Yabus Magomedov fight, which is an example of what I'm talking about, where he comes out and he's like feinting and teeping and jabbing, and he still fucking gasses out and looks like shit. So either he comes out and goes crazy, and honestly, maybe he finishes Zachary Reese, or he gasses out and gets finished badly, or he comes out trying to be patient, trying to rely on his skills. And I don't think he has the skills. Like, I think that he has power and athleticism. He needs to just go out there and get this done in like 30 seconds, or else he loses this fight. I think that's hard to pick versus Zachary Reese. I know what I'm getting. He's got solid grappling. He's got, you know, long, lanky, good kickboxing, decent power, you know, a little bit chinny, but I think Michel Pereira is kind of in that conversation too now. So I lean towards Zachary Reese to win this fight by decision or late round finish. Next fight of the night, we've got Jacobe Smith, one of my favorite prospects, versus Josiah Harrell. Now, dude, Josiah Harrell, this guy was supposed to fight JDM, okay? So I'm taking this a little bit personal. This guy had the nerve to step up and say, yes, I will fight Jack Della Maddalena. But obviously, great story here for Josiah Harrell. If you don't know, he was supposed to fight JDM. He had some sort of brain thing come up and kind of retired from MMA for a little bit. Has come back, beat up this foreign dude in his last fight in the LFA. Great grappling display from Josiah Harrell. Started out a little bit bad, got taken down, got manhandled a little bit, built back into the fight. Very solid striking. He blitzes in really well with straight punches. A little bit loopy at sometimes though, but very solid striking. Very, very high level grappling. Great takedown entries. Landed a Mighty Mouse armbar in that fight as well. Super impressive stuff. I think that Jacobe Smith is going to capitalize on the fact that Josiah Harrell is a little bit of a slow starter. I think Jacobe Smith wins this fight. I'd like to see the Josiah Harrell story play out with him coming in, kind of playing this Ethan Ewing role where he comes in on short notice, beats this big explosive prospect that everyone loves. I think that Jacobe Smith, the difference between him and like a Malcolm Wellmaker is he's a very, very good grappler. He's got nasty ground and pound. He's super explosive early on. He's got one-shot KO power early on. He has the ability to take you down, slam you down, and then when he gets on top of people, it's not just him laying on them or looking for subs. He has very accurate, damaging ground and pound. We saw that against Nico Price. We've seen on the Contender Series as well that if Jacobe Smith goes out there kind of patient a little bit in the grappling, not necessarily trying to finish you straight away like he was doing to Nico Price, that he can kind of drag it out and break you down with the wrestling. He's got really good mat returns. That's kind of a staple from guys that are from that DC aka team. You know, DC was really good at mat returns. Jacobe Smith is really good at it as well. And I think if you look at Josiah Harrell's last fight, I see something similar happening to him in this one. I think Jacobe Smith is going to go out there super aggressive early on. They're both going to land some big shit early on. I think Jacobe Smith's going to get a hold of him, be the bigger, stronger, more athletic guy, more prepared, pick him up from the body lock, dump him. And I think he's going to be a little bit more patient with the ground and pound to try and maybe set up a submission. I do think he'll have a hard time, you know, straight up out grappling and submitting Josiah Harrell. He's a very good grappler, very high IQ in terms of decision making on the ground. I don't want to discredit Josiah Harrell. I just feel like coming in on short notice against such a dangerous guy, I just see Jacobe Smith getting the body lock, picking him up, dumping him, landing some big elbows that cut open Josiah Harrell, landing some ground and pound, and kind of breaking him down and getting a TKO finish via ground and pound. I really believe that this guy's ground and pound is insane. It's kind of like Armin Sarukian type shit. Like, I don't want to make that comparison now, but Jacobe Smith does kind of have that level of ground and pound where every shot he picks, it's a big shot and it lands hard on the chin or it's an elbow. And we saw against Nico Price, and I know Nico Price is kind of a goofy, you know, gritty gritster. But still, dude, like Jacobe Smith at a huge, you know, experience disadvantage and a kind of a frame disadvantage, takes him down, beats him up, submits him. Even though he gassed out in that fight, I think that in this fight he'll have learned his lesson, paced himself a little bit better, and be more prepared, right? He's coming in on full camp. Josiah Harrell's coming in on short notice as the smaller, less athletic, slower starter. I just feel like that's a bad recipe. I'm going to say Jacobe Smith wins this fight in the first or early second round via ground and pound TKO. Next fight of the night, we've got, mate, Sergey Spivak versus fucking Marcin, what's the guy's name? Ante Delija, mate. You know what, mate? This is like watching my mum and my dad punch on, you know? Great fight here between Sergey Spivak and Ante Delija, mate. I'm picking Ante Delija. I'm going to say TKO, dude. Delija is just way better on the feet, dude. Like, the gap, I think of it like this. The gap in striking between these two is way bigger in favor of Ante Delija than the gap in grappling, right? Because it's fucking heavyweight. Of course, none of these guys know how to fucking grapple. Sergey Spivak, the fact that he has judo and he knows what a fucking armbar is, he's an elite level grappler in the top 10 of the heavyweight division. But Ante Delija passed the test against Marcin Tybura, man. Like, Marcin Tybura, he's a meme, but if you're a blob, like Derek Lewis and fucking Tai Tuivasa, right? And Tai Tuivasa is a perfect example of what I'm talking about because Sergey Spivak did the exact same thing to him. And Marcin Tybura took him down, submitted him. If you're one of these guys, yeah, you're fucked against Sergey Spivak. But if you are a somewhat athletic, solid striker that knows how to defend a takedown against the fence, I think you beat these guys. That's how Waldo did it. That's how Gane did it. That's how Aspinall did it. I think Delija is closer to those guys than he is to the Tai Tuivasas and Derek Lewis's of the world. I don't think that's ridiculous to say. I think Ante Delija, especially having the training camp, working with Tom Aspinall, constantly working with guys of that caliber and other heavyweights, I think he's going to come in here, defend a takedown, start to make Spivak shell up, because he genuinely just shell. If Spivak cannot just take you down, he just turns into the most passive, like, striker there. This guy got TKO'd by Jailton Almeida. Okay? Is there anything else that needs to be said? This guy got chinned by Jailton Almeida. Okay, dude? I know he took down Jailton Almeida and got swept, but still, bro. I'm sorry, dude. But Ante Delija, I think he's going to stuff a takedown. He's going to put Spivak on the back foot. He's going to blitz him with the fucking Timu Sergey Pavlovich blitz. Uppercut, hook, uppercut, body rip. I could see a body shot TKO here. Sergey Spivak high guards so badly. His body's just asking to be fucking hit. We saw Cyril Gane finish him via body shots. I think that Sergey Spivak, once he gets reversed, he's going to be shelled up. Delija's going to blitz him against the cage. He's going to get a TKO win. It's either round 1, Ante Delija nukes him TKO against the fence, or Spivak blobs him, subs him pretty quickly. Yeah, I think that this will be a finish either way, but I lean towards Ante Delija. Featured fight of the night, we've got Dan Ige versus fucking Melquizael Costa. Dude, Dan Ige is coming in, dude. Dude, Dan Ige by decision, bro. Dan Ige by knockout, bro. Dude, this guy's next level, bro. Dan Ige's gatekeeper, bro. I'm sorry, dude. I can't pick Dan Ige against someone I think is good. That's just it. Like, really what it comes down to is, like, do I think this guy should be in the top 15? Melquizael Costa? Yeah. I think he should be in the top 15. So he's going to beat Dan Ige, dude. Anybody that's not belonging in the top 15, Damon Jackson, fuck, you're getting chinned. You know what I'm saying? Andre Philly, I love you, brother. You're getting chinned. You know what I mean? There's unranked guys right now that I'd be like, listen, Dan Ige low-key beats that guy. He KOs that guy. But this ain't one of them. Morgan Sharia, I would be like, you know what? Dan Ige kind of chins him. You know? Nate Landwehr. These are the guys. Julian Arosa, I know they're teammates, but still. That's what I'm talking about, right? That's the level of guys that Dan Ige beats. Melquizael Costa beats all those guys. And finishes a lot of them. And he has finished a lot of them. I think Melquizael Costa wins this fight. I will say it will be by decision because Dan Ige, you gotta understand, bro. Dan Ige's been doing the same shit since 2020, bro. Since 2019, bro. He came into the UFC, had a couple of finishes. We're like, holy fuck, this guy's actually kind of good. And then he fought Calvin Kattar on Fight Island and lost. And since then, Dan Ige's been doing the same shit every single fucking fight. This is exactly what's gonna happen when he fights Melquizael Costa, dude. Dan Ige's going to make this close, dude. He's going to make this a 29-28 decision because Costa's unranked. He's not this insane finisher. He's not this future champion like an Evloev or Diego Lopez. And even those guys, he makes it close. You know, Pitbull, you know, former PFL Bellator champion, legend of the game, makes it close. I think he'll win. He'll lose a 29-28 decision here to Melquizael Costa. Costa has really nice kicks to the legs, to the body, to the head. I think those will work really well. I think he'll keep his range and kind of jab up Dan Ige, and not necessarily because of a reach advantage, but because he fights behind kicks and punches, and all Dan Ige does is fucking walk at you doing this and punching. Jab, jab two, jab overhand, swing a body rip that doesn't land, switch stances here and there, shoot a takedown. Dan Ige's boxing and he's wrestling. That's it, dude. And this is the exact script of this fight, dude. Melquizael Costa's gonna win the first round. He's gonna be piecing up Dan Ige with the kicks. Nothing crazy. Jab, leg kick, body kick. Dan Ige blocks it, but it's still counting, right? Because Dan Ige's not doing anything. He's just switching stances at range. Big head kick, maybe wobbles Dan Ige for a second. With like a minute or 40 seconds left in the round, Dan Ige will shoot a blast double and take down Melquizael Costa. Not get off any damage. Not, you know, we don't want to, you know, reinvent the wheel. He's not going to try a sub or anything. He's just going to take down Melquizael Costa and be in the full guard and maybe land a couple of punches over the top, but lose that round because you got outstruck for the rest of the round. I was going to say a different word. Some people will say that Dan Ige won this round, by the way, but he won't win it. And then he'll go back to the corner. Eric Nixick will tell him to fucking control the optics or control the geometry or some bullshit like that. He'll come out in the second round, not shoot any more takedowns, switch stances a couple of times. That was too dynamic. Switch stances a couple of times doing this. Lose the second round clearly in the striking. Go back to the third round. Hey, it's 1-1, Bubba. It's 1-1, Bubba. We need to control those optics. We need to control that geometry. Eric Nixick's going to be talking about some bullshit in the corner. Chris Curtis is going to be raging out in the corner. And then in the third round, Dan Ige will maybe do something. Like he'll land an overhand that rocked Melquizael Costa. Maybe he'll mix in another takedown. Get some control. Costa threatens the guillotine, reverses position, scrambles back up to their feet. They have a fun ending to the round. Dan Ige probably points down and act surprised that he lost a 29-28 decision. I'm almost certain that something along those lines will happen exactly in this fight. That is every fucking day. This is Dan Ige heritage. This is what he does, okay? This is exactly what happens with all these NPCs from fucking Extreme Couture. Give me Melquizael Costa by 29-28 decision. Co-main event of the evening, we've got Jeff Neal versus Uros Medic. I kind of underestimated Uros Medic, dude. I rewatched some tape, and these guys are actually pretty similar. Like, they're both southpaws. They're both primarily boxers. But I think I'm going to pick Jeff Neal by KO because he's a lot more durable. He's been chinned one time in the UFC by Carlos Prates. Otherwise, Jeff Neal has actually been very durable. He's shown pretty good takedown defense. He's shown pretty good boxing. He can mix things up pretty well. He has pretty decent head movement. He slips off the center line pretty well. Uros Medic is a lot more jumpy and jittery and feinty. Uses a bit more kicks. I think that the lead side head kick for Uros Medic is going to be something that works well. We saw Shavkat landing good head kicks against Jeff Neal. Same with Ian Gary. He landed nice step-in knees. And I think knees will be a factor here too. All the guys that have beat Jeff Neal, Shavkat, Gary, Prates, these guys are using knees against him, and I think Uros Medic will make that read. I can see Uros Medic stepping in with a knee and getting bombed with an overhand. I can see Uros Medic trying to track down Jeff Neal. Neal kind of slips to the outside, boom, straight left, drops him bad. Similar to what Soriano dropped him with. I think that Jeff Neal is going to win this fight by TKO. I think it'll be fun, jittery, competitive, and then boom, Jeff Neal will land something, get a finish, bounce back, immediately get thrown in there with fucking Michael Morales or fucking Shavkat's coming back. We're going to run the rematch. Some bullshit, terrible fight that will get him finished. But in this matchup, I think he wins by TKO. I like the matchup though, but I do think Jeff Neal wins this one. Main event of the evening. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I'm going to fucking go to the death for you fucking guys, dude. Let's fucking go. Sean Strickland's winning this fight, dude. I dropped a video about it. I was fence sitting it. You know what? I'm feeling this, dude. I think Sean Strickland wins this fight. I think that with the reach advantage that he has, the experience advantage that he has against high-level competition, the fact that we've seen not that many people take down Sean Strickland and even less people be able to take him down, hold him down, control him, basically has not happened. The people that have beat Sean Strickland have been these physical fucking behemoths, like Alex Pereira. Grown-ass man fighting at middleweight when bro's walking around 230. Okay? Dricus Duplessis, bro. Like, I was watching Flying Squirrel MMA today. Shout out to Flying Squirrel. And he was like, bro, if you have to replicate DDP, you're cooked. I love Anthony Hernandez. He's literally in the fucking channel banner. I just don't see him as the same as those guys. I think that Anthony Hernandez has had fights against Roman Fraudlidze, who literally has no wrestling, no striking. He's a fucking caveman that knows how to roll for a leg and gasses out immediately, right? Gasses out every fight. Michel Pereira, Zumba instructor with no cardio. Come on, dude. Roman copy blob. Seriously, bro. No wrestling whatsoever. No boxing. Just kicks and melts every fight. Like Rodolfo Vieiro, bro. I'm sorry. I love Anthony Hernandez, but the more I look back, the more I'm like, bro, Strickland is just such a jump from those guys. And Strickland has the striking advantage here to kind of make Anthony Hernandez not be able to set up his takedowns as well. I feel like Strickland's going to win this fight by decision. I don't think Hernandez has the power or the physicality of a DDP or an Alex Pereira. I think on the feet, he'll have a hard time getting going and setting up his takedowns effectively against someone that's so hard to hit clean, someone you can't really establish range against. You can't throw combinations against him that are, that will land. It will be like miss, 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 and then I shoot a takedown. Strickland knows that's what you want. And the more comfortable, the longer this fight goes, the better that Strickland does on the feet, the harder it's going to be to set up effective takedowns and get to those positions where Anthony Hernandez wins fights, which is the body lock taking you down, the turtle, broken down on your elbows and knees, punching, elbowing, kneeing to the body, breaking you down, the top half guard where he drops those elbows, he drops ground and pound, he knees to the body, and he just cycles between the arm and guillotine and the rear naked choke and the ground and pound. And that's how he breaks these guys down and finishes them. Strickland is not accepting that position. Strickland is going to be so hard to get to that position. I think that if Anthony Hernandez wins this fight, he's genuinely going to have to Marab out. And I think there's this perception of Hernandez being like this insane Marab Colby Covington cardio. He does throw at a very high output. He wrestles at a very high output, but the guys that he's doing it to are not elite, bro. You and I both know Roman Dolidze is not good. You and I both know Michel Pereira is not good, bro. You and I both know Sean Strickland would beat the fuck out of every single person that Anthony Hernandez has beat. That's a fact, dude. Except I think that Sean Strickland gets hit way less on the feet, and I think that it's going to be so hard for Anthony Hernandez to establish range and set him up for takedowns. And that's gonna stop him from fatiguing Sean Strickland. And that's gonna let Sean Strickland get comfortable on the feet and start to piece him up, start to land. We've seen Hernandez struggle with guys that can actually grapple and keep it standing, like Brendan Allen, right? And I think that Strickland is a big jump in skill and experience and a stylistic nightmare compared to Roman Dolidze, Michel Pereira, Kopylov. Kopylov's a good striker, but he's not as good defensively. He's not as good in the boxing. He's not as good in the grappling. He doesn't have the cardio, whereas Sean Strickland has shown a great ability to get back up from takedowns and defend clinch and takedown attempts if he's pushing you back on the feet, which Brendan Allen was able to do against Anthony Hernandez, which Sean Strickland has done to fucking Israel Adesanya, in moments, Dricus du Plessis, Paulo Costa, all these other guys that he's fought that are way more dangerous on the feet. Anthony Hernandez has to spam takedowns. And I just don't think that's going to work for him. I think that Sean Strickland's going to be able to read those and figure them out. I think he's super high level. We've heard nothing but good things about his grappling from everybody in the gym training with him. We've seen that he cannot be held down by guys like Dricus du Plessis, who's just a physical fucking beast with very good jiu-jitsu as well. Not necessarily good defensive grappling or the technical wrestling of Anthony Hernandez, but the physicality and the striking and the skill to run you over and hold you down and maybe threaten a choke. Strickland's getting up every single time, breaking those grips, getting back out into the open, landing his jab, making him miss, checking a kick, boom, 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 combo, teep to the body, front kick, stab to the body. That's going to start to add up against Anthony Hernandez. And I think that in this fight, the first round, I think it's going to be pretty boring. I think Hernandez might get a takedown late in the round, and it's like 30 seconds left, so Strickland doesn't really, fight that hard to get back up. Kind of nothing on the feet, but Hernandez kind of steals that first round with a takedown attempt. And then I think as the fight goes on, Sean Strickland will start to counter Fluffy's striking setups, like whatever Anthony Hernandez does to set up his striking, which is mainly just boxing. I see Strickland just parry, jab, jab, cross. Hernandez kind of sticks his tongue out, shoots a bad takedown. Strickland kind of breaks away. They're back out striking. Slowly, Strickland starts to take over and build into the fight, landing his front kicks to the body, which will be super effective against Anthony Hernandez. His body is always getting hit and hurt in these fights, right? And then I feel like even if there's moments where Hernandez does get takedowns, Strickland has shown he can hit a switch, right? He can break the grips, get back up to his knees, get back up to his feet, break away. They're out in the open. Maybe Hernandez lands a nice elbow on the break of a takedown, getting back up type of situation. He lands an elbow on the break that cuts Strickland. There's going to be close moments, but I feel like this will be primarily kept on the feet by Sean Strickland. And with Hernandez slowly starting to go back and back and back, Strickland touching the body, calf kicking, I think that will work really effectively against Anthony Hernandez. Landing his jab cross, landing his hook on the counter, making Hernandez miss, making it really hard for him to kind of get going offensively and set up his takedowns as easily. I think we're going to see Hernandez shooting some pretty bad, uncharacteristic shots because of how awkward Strickland is on the feet, because he's on the back foot the whole time. And I think Strickland's going to win this fight by decision. I could see it being a close decision for Hernandez. I think either way, this has potential to be kind of boring, being a very close decision, but I just lean towards Strickland based on his experience, based on his fighting style, how good he is defensively, how tricky he is on the feet. He's going to be hard to read. He's going to be able to land nice shots against Anthony Hernandez, play with timing, rhythm, touch the body with the front kicks. Those are going to be a big factor. Those are going to establish range. And I just feel like Hernandez is going to have a hard time holding down Sean Strickland and doing to him what he's been doing to these other guys in the middleweight division. Whereas I can see Sean Strickland doing what he's done against DDP in the first fight, right? Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya, Brendan Allen. I can see him doing similar things against Anthony Hernandez, whereas I can't really picture Hernandez on top of Sean Strickland in round 4, beating the fuck out of him, emoting on him, standing rear naked, choking him. Like, Roman Dolidze just sucks. I'm sorry, I said that going into the fight. That's why I picked Hernandez so confidently. And I feel like the last thing I'll say on this, I feel like a lot of people are kind of live by the sword, die by the sword with these fights. where going into the Dolidze Hernandez fight, a weird amount of people picked Roman Dolidze. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be that guy because I've had terrible takes and picks in the past. I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I'm just saying from my perspective, I was like, bro, Roman Dolidze is dog shit. This guy flukes all his wins by submission. He has no striking. He has barely any cardio. He has no wrestling whatsoever. Anthony Hernandez is levels above this guy on the feet and in the grappling, right? But people picked Dolidze, and now that Hernandez beat the fuck out of him, and every single person is like, bro, Fluffy's the dark horse, man. Fluffy's the dark horse, bro. He's the next guy. I feel like they're like, well, I just have to pick Hernandez every fight now, or else I'm going to be wrong again. But I feel like Strickland wins this fight. Let me know your predictions, your thoughts in the comments down below. If you agree, if you disagree, let me know, man. If you guys enjoying the videos, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll try and come out with another one tomorrow as well. Stay tuned for that. See you guys in the next video, man. Go follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well, at Bedtime in May. I do have some cool stuff coming on my Instagram, so stay tuned for that. I'll see you in the next video, boys. Goodbye.